We're firing up the camera and turning on our microphones. We are just a small-time channel looking to do a great show, trying to make the fun meter glow. Don't want no trouble, don't want no thugs on our show. We just want to make your day a little more bright. So to that New Jersey ambulance chaser who works as a hipper while you're waiting in queue, please don't sue us for anything we do, because we are Madstork Media, coming at you live. The number one spot where content, fun, and foolishness collide. Yeah, we are Madstork Media, keeping it true, bringing the laughs and the good vibes to you. We don't want the thugs blocking up our lane. No bullying, no threats, no corporate pain. We are just a little channel with a giant heart, trying to make some art right from the start. So all you big channels with your heavy-handed wish, go pack up your drama and go lay by your dish, because Madstork Media is coming at you live. The number one spot where content, fun, and foolishness collide. Yeah, we are Madstork Media, keeping it true, bringing the laughs and the good vibes to you. Step aside, giants, your time is all done. Let Madstork Media show you some fun. Yeah, 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 Madstork Media, show you some fun. Come on, Frank, let's tell the world. Madstork Media is number one for content and fun. Come join the fly. Come join the fly. Come join the fly. Come join the fly for content and fun. Now Madstork Media is gonna catch some sun. Come have some fun, tell the world we've just begun.
Good afternoon. Where are we now? Why is this thing doing this to me? There we go. Now we're back. Just like radio. Technical difficulties right away.
That never happens.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and this is my longtime friend, Todd Stewart. We worked radio together 32 years ago.
Has it been that long?
It's been that long.
I've slept since then. Not well.
I gotta start this out because I gotta apologize. I've been wanting to say this for 32 years. You should have been the program director of that radio station that we worked at. You were smarter, and I didn't want to be a boss. There was no reason for me to be a boss because I didn't like. First of all, I don't like people, and I should have never been a boss.
Wait, you were the PD? What?
I think I was the PD. Yeah. I think I was,
No, it was a good time. We had fun.
It was fun time in Jonesboro, Arkansas. It was a nice station. It was a nice top 40 station that leaned a little bit alternative sometime. Do you remember the show that was on Sunday night, something about detouring? It was some kind of alternative thing that we did. I was trying to think of that show the other night, what we called it, but it was something on Sunday night that we did, like detouring to the edge of something. I thought, I don't know. I got to figure that out because I kind of like that, whatever it was. I kind of liked what we did there. But Todd's going to come on, though. We're going to talk a little bit about radio. We got to talk a little bit what's going on in Massachusetts. A lot of things happening, of course, with the corruption out there, and Karen Reed and Aiden Carding. Aiden, Turtle Boy's name is. He's going to be on later tonight on YouTube. I'm sure everybody's all geared up for that after everything that went on this week with Jess Machado, another content creator that I'm going to fill Todd in with because, of course, she said that she was a queen of radio. So Todd is going to give me the opinions of what he thinks of that, where after I tell him what she did in radio. And so a lot of things we want to talk about, but it's basically just to hang out. Sunday is a day of rest, but if you rest, the people catch up to you, so we can't rest. So that's why I brought Todd on.
Yeah, and it is the summer solstice today. So
it is.
As we say in Oklahoma, the longest day of allergy season.
Allergies. How's the allergies since you moved to Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
And even with living in Louisiana and Mississippi and Arkansas, it's still bad in Oklahoma. That's crazy.
The way an allergy doctor in Tulsa explained it to me about 15 years ago is, 25 years ago. Yeah, gotta get more sleep. He said that the same reason that we have like Tornado Alley along here, it causes everything in the air that people are allergic to kind of like concentrate. And I'm like, well, that's just wonderful, but I'm stuck with it and I make the best of it. But some days get a little crackly. So
because you're like right in that tornado alley, aren't you?
They say now it's shifting a little bit east, like toward into Arkansas and Mississippi, but it's still definitely here. We've had 6 or 7 during May, and none of them. Well, actually, we had one just on the south end of town, did a little damage on the outside of the building where I work, and but nobody hurt, thank goodness.
Out of the years that I was in Arkansas, I only saw one tornado, and I'll never forget. I was working at KZOU in Little Rock, and we're on I think we're the 7th floor of a bank building. Mm-hmm. There is on University Avenue in Little Rock, and you could see it coming from the west. You could actually see where it was dropping down. And I'll never forget our boss at the time, which was Jerry Lusto. Rest in peace. He passed away. But he was the program director, legendary. And he come up and he goes, "Hey, stay here, as long as you can," and all that kind of stuff. And I said, "Wait a second." I said, "Jerry, let's think about this before I stay here." He goes, "Well, what's that?" And I said, "I have to use the elevator if I go up or I go down." He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I can't use the steps." He goes, "Oh, Jesus, we can't have you sitting in here then." But I watched that thing just come right around the city. It was crazy the way that thing just rolled right around the city. And you could watch it. It was going down and it would go back up and go back down. It was just a nut time. And that's as close as I ever want to get to one right there. That's as close as I mean, it's just crazy.
Over the years, I've been closer than I want to be to them. But,
So Todd, we worked in Jonesboro, 1994, big time down at that time. Remember, I'll never forget one of our sweepers that we played was Giving You More in 94. Boy, that was clever. I don't know who came up with that one, but that was clever. And but then you went from Jonesboro to where? Mississippi?
Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay, and that went. We were top 40 basically with a little lean to alternative, because Carrie Keller, of course, had a lot of influence on the music, so she liked the Pet Shop Boys and whatever that other one was. So we had to play that crap.
Yep.
And but then you went to. When did you?
I stayed there. When the station was sold.
Right.
And so I stayed there another little over a year. I left in April of 95, and I was doing afternoons on the rock station that became Z100.
Okay. Yep.
And they just dropped the K. And I worked there for about a year and a half, and year and a half, and I wanted to get out of Jonesboro. And I had a buddy of mine that used to work there at KZ100 that had gone down to Jackson, Mississippi, and was working at a country station. And so they had an opening. He talked to his boss. That brought me down for an interview. I got hired, moved down there, everything I owned in a U-Haul, my car on a trailer behind the U-Haul. And Monday morning, I did my last rock show on a Friday afternoon. Monday, I'm doing, here's Garth Brooks. And it's a little bit of a changing gears in my head. But and then 20 minutes, back to tornadoes for a second, 20 minutes after I was on the air on my first shift in central Mississippi, news director walks in and hands me a bulletin and says, activate the emergency broadcast system. There's a tornado on the ground in Hines County. Okay, I already knew how to do that.
Welcome to Mississippi.
But I'm like, okay, I have one question. Where's Hines County? And he just looks at me and goes, you're standing in it. And for the next 2 hours, I hardly played any music. It was one tornado warning after another. And of course, another thing I learned, everywhere you go, every market you work in radio, there's a town that has a common spelled name. Like here in Oklahoma, that is Miami, Florida, right?
Right.
We have a Miami, Oklahoma, but it's Miami. And so right before I joined you in Jonesboro, I had lived in Italy for a few years.
Okay.
So I traveled through Germany, Italy, all of Southern Europe. And I tell you that to tell you this, here I am giving that second tornado warning, I think, in Mississippi. And I've been in state for a whole 3 days. And I'm reading this and I'm like, there's a tornado on the ground near Pearl, Mississippi, headed towards such and such, and residents of Gluckstadt need to take shelter. And the phones all start blowing up and they're all like, hey, it's pronounced Gluckstadt.
That's like when I first went to work for Little Rock, that the Washita, is that how you pronounce it?
Washita.
Yeah, man, I couldn't get that right. I think I said Ochita one time, and I don't know what I said, but boy, people were calling, going, "What is wrong with you?"
You can always tell the national spots, the out of market, voiceovers, because they would say, "Come see this business on Rodney Parham Road."
I'll never forget. Do you remember Derek Johnson? The name Derek Johnson.
The name rings a bell. Yeah.
He worked at KZOU for a little bit. Then he went up to St. Louis. But when he first came to town, he was, I forget what his radio guy name was, but he tried to go by Rodney Parham. But I guess Rodney Parham was not a very good guy. I guess in the lore of Rodney Parham, he wasn't like the best guy. So when they tried to use, somebody came up with that. I think it was Peter Stewart, and they came up with that. And the phone calls that came in, I thought they were going to murder him. The way he was. They were going after him. But that was fine. I forget what he ended up being. I think he went by Derek Johnson. His real name was Derek Gilbert, and but then he went on to work in St. Louis. He's programming one of the hot, I think, one of the hot hits stations up in St. Louis. But it was funny. People were calling and everything. So anyway, so then you got to Oklahoma, and then basically that Oklahoma is where you stayed with a couple of stations, right?
That's right. I was in Tulsa. I came there in April of 2001 to relaunch a country signal that was what they refer to as a flanking station. If you have a big profitable station, you want to create a lot of places will create a different version of that same format. In this case, it was country, to help protect the big station from being attacked by other stations, other competing stations in the market. And we spent a lot of time and a lot of money coming up with the imaging. We imaged ourselves as the Bull, and which was it was before it really got in every city, but we were one of the early adopters of the Bull, and we adopted some of the same tactics that the Wolf in Dallas did. Okay. And
great station, by the way.
Seriously, and we launched the station with the new format and the new calls on September 1st of 2001.
Okay.
With the whole attitude of let's have fun, don't take ourselves seriously. And then 10 days later, 9/11 hit.
Oh,
And nobody was in the mood to just have fun and not take themselves seriously. And and so we struggled a little bit. We of course were on the air covering all that, and then we didn't even have a full air staff in place when that happened because we were so new. We were waiting on the final couple of people to come in. So I think I pulled about a 12-hour day that day, but I was there for about a year and a half, and things went a different direction, as they say, and ended up on the beach for about a year, and then went to Stillwater, Oklahoma, which is, of course, it's kind of where Garth Brooks hails from. He's actually from Yukon, down outside Oklahoma City, but Garth went to school at Oklahoma State, and we have Garth and Gary Busey as the two big.
Nice. Nice.
And but anyway, I went to Stillwater with the intent of only being there for a limited time. And then my mother, who my parents lived in Paris, Texas at the time, which is about a 5-hour drive south of there. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, and I just decided if I got another job, it might take me, elsewhere in the United States, and it'd be a harder trip to get back to see her. So, I stayed in Stillwater for 6 years, and then got out of the business full time.
Then you got smart and got out of business and made real money.
Yeah, but there's that itch, and it's in your blood. You really just can't get totally. Right. I don't think I'll ever totally disconnect from it. So.
Right, and that's what I was. Do you know anybody from the Town Square Media? Do you remember that company? I
do remember the company. I can't, off the top of my head, think of anybody, but.
I was telling you about this woman that's on YouTube. She says that she's got the #1 rated morning show on YouTube for the time slot that she's in. Don't ask me how she rated that. I don't know, because I'm still trying to figure out how I rate my show. But anyway, and she said that she had worked for the station, and then she called up a guy that had been there for 40 years, and we've both been through this kind of stuff. But this guy had gotten fired, let go of his position at this station that she worked at, and I guess he's suing Town Square Media for age discrimination and all that. And we've seen that even in our day when we were younger. We've seen that. Oh, yeah. I mean, it happens, but radio is a thing that once you make a certain amount of money, they will find a way to get rid of you, to get somebody new in there, somebody that just wants to be on the air and not worry about the money.
Yeah, and somebody they can pay a third of what they were paying you.
Right. So. That's and so this guy, and I feel bad for the guy. He's older, and of course he's going to try to sue, but usually they'll settle that out of court for a very small sum and everything. But this Jess Machado, she said that she had the #1 rated show on this little AM station. Todd, an AM station, meaning it was 1,000 watt at night. Okay. And she said that, she had the #1 rated show. Now, where this is, I guess it's like 40 minutes, maybe south of Boston. Okay. So, but 1,000 watts is probably not going to go very far, is where I'm going with this. So again, I don't know where she came up, but she only worked the one night a week, I guess, on the weekend. And she had the #1 political talk or political, on this little AM station, which I think she fabricates a little bit, after I kind of looked into everything. So anyway, she said this is what really I thought of you, because again, we've probably been through this. She had looked through she wanted to play some of her old shows on the internet and on YouTube. And so she went to the website of the radio station. Now, she's been gone, I guess, a couple of years, the way it sounds. And she went to the website to see if they were still holding on to her shows. And she got so mad. She got mad, Todd. She goes, well, those F and blah, 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 they took my shows down. Well, that usually happens when you get fired for having a big mouth. They don't usually keep those shows. I guess they did up until they got new ownerships or whatever. But so she's all over the board, and now she had somebody that's a kind of a comedian that kind of going after her on YouTube, like I have been. And I mean, I wouldn't probably say a word to her, but I know she's lying on a couple of things that she's done. And like I said, with me and you both, starting out in radio where we actually did have to work a weekend, if we wanted to move up the ladder. I mean, now, as I've said many times, now it's a little bit different because everything's voice tracked. So the weekends are kind of thrown away a little bit. And not only weekends, but some of the other day parts too during the week are thrown away a little bit. And I guess I wanted to hear your comments on something like that, because I'm sure you were at the start of that whole voice tracking stuff.
I was. And I was afraid that it was going to, take my job away from me. And I was working for, it was the stations in Jackson, Mississippi, when Clear Channel started on their big acquisition spree. And they bought our station, and friends of mine that I knew left, and they left and went to a different station, and guess what? Clear Channel bought them next. But anyway, I was there, yes, at the beginning of voice tracking, and I chose to, because I knew that they were trying to automate everything they could. I chose to learn how to do anything and everything they allowed me to learn how to do. So that way, when it came time to trim the fat, so to speak, they didn't even look in my direction. And so I embraced voice tracking. But I got to tell you, though, I almost wept the first time I realized I could edit something in 5 minutes that used to take me an hour with a razor blade and a grease pencil, So I'm a fan now. And like I said, it has freed up the weekends. And I have done some stuff for stations in the area since I got out of it full time. And, I can hop right on this rig here, and I can remote in, and I can do a weather update. I can do all sorts of stuff just, at the drop of a hat. And so,
yeah, it made, for us, all us old guys, it made it easier in a lot of ways, but then it took away our real local sounding, being live and all that kind of stuff. It took away. Yeah. I don't know if you can read this message here, but saying that she was never number one. She was on Saturday afternoon, WBSM AM 1 to 3, one time a week. They take everyone's show down when they leave. I was an avid listener for decades. She's blowing smoke up. Yeah. And I knew that, just listening to her, that's what was happening with her. And I just don't know. I mean, when they start talking about the radio thing, it's like, back in the day, I used to know just about every big station's antenna height, how much wattage they had, and everything, because I kept up on that stuff. And I always knew the program directors. The good program directors, we always knew.
Back in the old days, we had to know all that stuff.
We did.
We had to take transmitter log readings, periodically through our shift. And
we always admired the good programmers. I mean, the real good programmers. We always admired them, and we always knew that we could learn something from them to move on, and which was really lucky. I always said Jonesboro was a good spot for me because I always liked LaDawn taught me a lot. LaDawn Fear, our general manager, she really taught me a lot. And Carrie was just, the sales manager. She was just so much fun to be around, and, the liveliness and everything. And it was just a fun time for me to be there. And, they say that you're there for a reason. And it was, I learned a lot that I took later on, as I did things. And, but yeah, so, this whole thing about the Massachusetts, I don't know if you read into anything about Massachusetts, this Karen Reed thing, and it's crazy. I mean, so go ahead. So what do you know a little bit about it?
I know just really, I remember hearing about the Karen Reed case in the national news because even though I've been out of radio full time for about 21 years, I've still, you still want to find out what's going on and be in the know. So if somebody brings it up in a conversation, you have a little bit of, you've done your prep, I guess, in radio vernacular. But no, I read about the case. I haven't had time since we chatted on a few days ago to really dig deep into it. But from what I gather, it seems like that the prosecution did not possibly have the strongest case.
Well,
on that, and
the case was, they had a lead investigator that was completely. It basically, Todd, when it all come down to it, that she was set up. She was really set up on everything that happened. I mean, they tried to pin it on the guy. Went to an after bar party and went into so, allegedly went in the house. They say that he didn't go in the house, but the house was owned, the after bar party house was owned by another Boston cop. They didn't know each other, but they, because Boston cop, that's such a big unit. But he went there, and there was an ATF guy there that actually was kind of sweet on John O'Keefe, who died, was kind of sweet on his girlfriend. And so there was that little thing going on. But he didn't have, if he was going to get hit, and then they later changed it, whether he sideswiped, but he didn't have any injuries from the neck down. He had a big gash on the back of his head, like he fell backwards onto something, but he fell backwards onto snow. So that one came from the snow. And, but he didn't have no like broken bones anywhere other than the gash in the head. So, but it came out then, later. I mean, if you'd have watched the trial, you'd have said, what is going on? I mean, cops are saying, they had one guy from the Canton Police Department. And I guess Canton, Massachusetts, Todd, is known for Dunkin' Donuts. I guess the headquarters is there.
Okay.
And, but anyway, they had one of the guys from Canton. His name was Gallagher. If you ever get a chance, go watch his testimony on cross-examination. They asked him, why didn't you go in the house? And he said, we had no reason to go in the house. Well, there was a dead guy. I mean, Todd, if there was a dead guy in your lawn, you don't think the cops are coming in your house?
They want to come in and find out, what's going on. And
to check, at least to see if somebody else might be hurt or something. But they didn't, because of the courtesy, of course, of the guy that owned the house. So as they got going and everything, the first trial was a hung jury, and then they actually tried her again, brought in Whitey Bulger's attorney to be the acting ADA.
wow.
And they thought they were going to go after her that way. A lot of corruption with the DA office. And, of course, she wins it. She's found not guilty. And now, because the lead investigator in the first trial, Todd, he was sending text messages to his buddies after he confiscated her phone, because he was going through her phone. And he was sending text messages to his buddies, high school buddies, saying, hey, she's a C word, she's this, she's that. And then he goes, no nudes yet, but I'll let you know. And he's, when they asked him, have you ever done through nudes, look for nudes? No, I never done that. Well, now we're finding out, because his personal phone was basically confiscated, and they checked into it. Dates back 13 years, Todd, that he was taking pictures of like domestic women that, have to actually, get undressed to show the bruises or whatever. He was taking pictures and actually sharing that stuff.
Wow.
And, he was saying nasty things about black people, real racist kind of guy. And it's blowing up. It's crazy. The O'Keefe family, the guy that died, his family's trying to sue Karen, of course, in civil. And then Turtle Boy, Aiden Carney, the guy that I talked about just earlier. Now, he's the guy that nobody wanted to pick this story up in the beginning, Todd. None of the news stations out there wanted to, they just wanted to stay away from it. So they took this independent journalist, Aiden Carney, Turtle Boy, and it became once in a lifetime thing for him, because he got people together and they started, he just dove into it, was getting information, dove into it, and started doing protesting, about it and all that kind of stuff. Well, it got to the point that this Michael Proctor that I was telling you about, even on one of his text messages to the other people, other cops, like the chief of police and that, and everybody else, he texted, he said, can't we just arrest him for something, to silence him? Well, they ended up arresting him for witness intimidation. He spent 60 days in jail. Now he's up for witness intimidation, where he could go away for 90 years. And it's just all a setup to make him stop. And now he's on YouTube.
There are a lot of cases around the country of that very thing happening. By the way, let me preface, since I got out of radio, I'm not in law enforcement. I'm not a lawyer, but I have been, I'm an investigator now for a tribal gaming commission here in Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
And I've had a lot of training in investigative technique. Matter of fact, I've had the same training, investigations, interview and interrogation that law enforcement goes through.
Okay.
And I've also become a certified fraud examiner. And so I've had a lot of training and trying to figure out what goes on in any given situation. But I have seen a lot of this lately, and including some instances here in Oklahoma, where down here it's the data centers that are causing this type of thing. People that are protesting the data centers showing up at their city council meeting to complain, we don't want this in our backyard. We've heard people in other cities that have one that are talking about the low rumble that's present 24/7, and they're being led out of the chambers in handcuffs, even though they actually were there to speak during the meeting. And some of them, not in Oklahoma, but some of them in other jurisdictions, are facing criminal charges over this. And it's definitely a First Amendment issue. Now, in light of that, I was looking at what did you say his name was?
Aiden Carney.
Okay, Aiden. I was looking at this in particular, and what I've been reading, the reading I've been doing on that, a lot of states have what they call anti-slap legislation now. And the way that works is, see, a great way to shut you up is if you're a citizen journalist or just a regular citizen that wants to say, hey, this isn't right, and you have an opinion, and and you're starting to gain a little traction with it. The powers that be can come in there and slap you with something, and just count on the fact that you do not have enough money to fight this.
Right.
And the slap legislation has come about as a way to help protect people and not cause them to undue financial burden just to defend, their freedom of speech, basically.
Right.
And Massachusetts has a little more strict interpretation of the anti-slap law than a lot of states do. And most states, the slap law covers basically anything First Amendment related. Massachusetts made it a little more narrow and said that it only applies if it's a government that's trying to do that, which in this case it is. It's the prosecution and the state that are bringing the charges on it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I'll definitely start keeping up with it now.
But if you're a witness in Massachusetts, if you're a witness for something in court and you make somebody sad that's a witness, you could be charged. Did you know that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because they can call it intimidation or coercion or something like that. So just because we do have the freedom of speech doesn't mean we can say stuff without consequences. And again, I'm fully in favor of freedom of speech, but you do have to choose your words carefully sometimes, because this is a real litigious society. Did I say that right? Where people a lot of times will just look for any reason they can to sue and try to get money from you. And
I mean, if they would have had that I always make people sad every time I open my mouth. So, I'd have been real in trouble if I'd have been out in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You
look at all the fraud that was uncovered in Minnesota, and that was a citizen journalist basically. And they tried to downplay that and say, well, it's not not legit. And, we all know how that's playing out. So.
There's also a little bit of corruption. What was was that near Oklahoma City? That baseball player that committed rape, and then it was he got off of it, I guess, because he was going to be a big baseball guy in Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, I think.
I vaguely remember that. A lot of times, and when I was going to high school in Arkansas, there were some issues with the Razorback basketball program with some allegations like that. And the attitude back then is, well, boys will be boys. And, they kind of swept it under the rug and kept a lid on it. And that's getting harder to do. And it certainly should come to light if there's, wrongdoing. In my opinion.
And that one, I guess the way it's outed, it was a pretty much a wrongdoing down there. But I want to let everybody know I'm talking with my buddy, Todd Stewart. Him and I worked together a long time ago, stayed friends, even though I don't like to play well with others. And I think LaDawn is actually in here. She just wrote me a note in Facebook, and I think she was coming over to at least check us out. But she does want to come on with me one time, and I want to get her on because like I said, I learned a lot from her when I got to Jonesboro, and she's always fun to talk to. And so I hope that she does. She makes time for me soon and comes on. But so she's in here, and
checking my Facebook. I don't see anything from LaDawn.
She sent me in a messenger, just a little message, and she said, make sure that I send her a link so that she can at least do the at least subscribe and everything. And I need people to subscribe. We lost a little bit on my Jess Machado stuff. All right. We're going up and down, up and down. People got pissed off at me for what I said, but I'm going to stick with it. Okay. I'm going to just stick with what I said about her last week. And that's just the way it is. I don't like the way she does her show. I'm a male though too. She said, well, males don't like it because I'm geared towards women. Well, if you're the number one show, you got to gear towards everybody. If you're the number one show. So you got to, you can't just be, 18 to 35-year-old women, which I don't think she is. But, she likes to do a lot of different things. Thanks a lot, Bless, for saying, telling everybody hit the like. Got to say hi. Mary B is here. Also, Boston Gingy. Yes. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. No child has come forward for me. So I'm not a dad. So I lucked out.
I'm thinking if in Boston, is the Tartan Army still behaving themselves?
Oh, we got to hear about that. What is the Tartan Army?
The Tartan Army, they're the all the Scottish national soccer teams fans.
Oh, okay.
They call themselves the Tartan Army, and they have taken over Boston. And I understand that there has been emergency calls from bar owners that they have run out of beer. And but they said they're very well behaved. As a matter of fact, the general manager of Fenway Park, I just read this earlier, sent a letter to the Scottish national team. Oh, they're heading to Miami now. Okay, good. Okay. And but he said that thanks for being here. You guys, were great. You actually took better care of this place than we do sometimes. And I did see that and I guess they do this wherever they go. They take traffic cones and they set them on the heads of statues around the town they're in. And I've seen some of that from there in the Boston area.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, that is the Tartan Army, they call themselves. And they marched through the streets of Boston with kilts and bagpipes and everything. Okay. They did drink Boston Dry. I mean, I haven't seen that happen since Country Radio Seminar in Nashville.
That's true.
That may or may not have been a part of.
I am a dog dad. You're right, Mary B. I'm sorry. Tracy's over at the dog sitter right now, so I could do the show, because if I do the show with him around here, he likes to bark because I'm not paying attention to him. So he's a lot like, I named him after Tracy Broussard, and he acts a lot like Tracy Broussard. If he's not being paid attention to, Tracy does the same thing. He'll get loud, he'll get mad and all that kind of stuff. So, but Tracy will be coming back here in a little while.
I've got the connection
to Todd. Hey, Todd, I want to go back to this one here.
Sure.
Somebody said right here. Can you see this one?
It is civil. You're right.
Okay.
And yeah, that is correct.
And Turtle Boy is getting sued civilly too. He's getting sued for defamation.
Yeah, that will be easier for him to get out of potentially, because even though the burden of proof is lower, it's basically 51%. If you think that you're more likely guilty than not, then you're guilty. They I was just reading this. They're calling it the Turtle Boy statue.
Yeah. In Worcester, they got a Turtle Boy statue. That's where Turtle Boy is from. So he took that name as his name. So it's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah. About 250 years ago, I had family from up in that area. But, I'm a Stewart, so there's a little bit of Scott, too. So
there's Lovey Squad. I have my swords and tartan and kilts. Oh, look at that. So this was a big thing then out there, wasn't it?
Free the turtle. There's your new hashtag right there.
Yeah, free the turtle. So here we have never have liked her content, talking about Jess Machado. Well, before any of this, mine too. I have never liked her content, and I had said that to J7, and J7's been cool with me, even though that she's a real big Jess Machado fan. She knows where I stand with it, and she's been real cool with it. She hasn't gone off on me and made me feel like an idiot. So I'm real happy about that. But yeah, she's tough to listen to. When she said one time, I don't know if I'm trying to think if I've ever worked with anybody like this, but she said one time when I was listening to her that if she was listening to a show like hers, she would be mad too, because of all the talent she has. I don't think I've ever worked with anybody like that in radio. I really don't. I'm trying to think of somebody, and I can't think of anybody that would ever say that. I mean, I worked with a lot of people that could have said that because I felt like they were really good, but I just never heard anybody say that before. But I mean, she likes her, that she loves herself. I guess that's great and everything. But it's just kind of crazy when you think
At
of
this
it.
point, she could just be trying to drive up her subscribers and viewers, you know. So
But she's lost now. She lost a lot. I think she started out last week with 10-6, and I think as of yesterday she was down to 10-1. So she's been losing, a lot of people the way it sounds. I mean, I was losing one or two because of that came over here probably that were crossed. But a lot of people will, if you say something about her, they'll come back again just to see what you're talking about with her. And then they'll get mad and say, oh, you're not being fair. I thought you were just going to report the facts. I had one that said that. Thought you were going to report the facts. And I'm reporting the facts the way I see them because I've watched her and I just don't like the show. I don't like all that. And then she tries to manipulate. She manipulates a lot. She's a master manipulator. I've never seen anybody like her. And so, I mean, that's what I see, and that's a fact of what I see. So, but this whole YouTube thing, Todd, is really crazy. I mean, I started this a little over a month ago. I've been doing it with Tracy, Broussard on Facebook. We did the Facebook thing for a long time, and we had almost 1,400 people following us on Facebook on that one, but we never did. We never did YouTube though at that time. And then we branched, a little bit. And we just weren't getting the views on YouTube. Though then I kind of reprogrammed it, with what I was doing, kind of talking about Massachusetts, kind of talking and ripping on a couple of people the way I know how to rip on people, and kind of going back to the radio days on stuff like that. And all of a sudden, somebody shared me in Discord, and then the next thing you know, I got these the people from the Red House Media, a channel. And all of a sudden we started getting, some nice subscribers and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, we're 19 away now after losing some. We're 19. I believe it's 19 away from 500. I think today now, Todd, with you being on, I think today is going to be the day we go over 500. I really do. I think today is the day.
Let's positive thoughts, man.
And so people need to hit the like button, hit the share it with everybody you know. All right. Share it. And in Boston Ginger, you're right. I didn't mention that, but I should have. Hippie Chick, another girl. She's from Indianapolis, and she shared it in Discord. And she was the first one. And then Boston Gingy, and then, Mary B, and a lot of ones that you'll see in here kind of just opened it up and started sharing, started talking about it. And I can't thank them enough. I mean, because they blew it up. I mean, I told them when I first was, I said, if I get to 100, I mean, that's better than what Tracy and I were getting, right? And I said, if I get to 100, I'll be happy. Well, man, I got to 200. And I said, well, now we got to get to 500. And so, there's different levels when you get with YouTube to where you can get, start making money. You get to 1,000 subs and then 4,000 watch hours. Well, then you start getting into AdSense and you can make a little bit of money with it. Now, is that what I got on for? No, I got on basically to rip on people and to bring some fun to the thing, not be as serious like you were talking about with the radio station, not be so serious. Don't take ourselves so serious because it's serious enough out here.
Yeah. And my day job is in a very strict regulatory environment. Casino regulation is almost as tight as banking regulations. Okay. And I'm the one that's the regulator now. And I can't just go out and hang out with everybody. And it's like stuff like this is what I do to unwind. I do some community theater,
right?
And so yeah, definitely. And hey, if my the folks watching in Boston will not take this as a ding, I'm going to quote Mark Cuban. When Mark Cuban bought the Mavericks,
right?
He said, "I'm going to win my fans one fan at a time." And that's my point, is that I think that's a great attitude. You just win one viewer at a time, one subscriber at a time, and do what you're doing, man.
And I've had people that try to get real nasty. There's been a couple that been real nasty. And I told them, I said, if you went through what I did in my life, there's not a word that can piss me off. You're not going to get that reaction out of me. Now when I got slammed for a copyright situation, and it wasn't a copyright, it was just, he's trying to get me for defamation of character, and then he'd strike me twice, and if you got 3, then of course you could lose your channel. And I got upset then, and I was ready to take the gloves off and everything. But now I've kind of let him alone a little bit, because now I got this Jess Machado to go after a little bit. But, there's this guy, JFK Show. If you ever want to check out a good guy, he's a rapper. He says he's a rapper, but he's never had a hit. But he said he's had hit underground, a lot of underground hits. And so I don't know if that's
no AM radio then.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. And that's fine. I mean, if he thinks that he's a number one rapper. But you know what I find more than anything with YouTube sometimes, Todd, is that these people have failed in so many different things, right? When they've tried things. And like the Jess Machados, she was getting her car repossessed. She was, not paying her bills. And all of a sudden she showed a little success. People giving tips, on YouTube, where they'll, you can have them send tips to your Cash App or your Venmo and super chats and all that kind of stuff. So she was getting a little bit, and she was making, I guess, 10 grand a month or whatever it was. And, but, you can't, just because you get money, that doesn't mean you can manage money. And I think she was still, having trouble with that. So I like that, she likes to say she's a conservative, but she don't have any conservative ideas when it comes to managing money and everything. So, so I got her to talk about now, and I've kind of let that JFK go alone. But JFK Show Off, if you ever get on YouTube, go listen to this guy, because he's a treat too. You'd like him. He said he was kind of a radio guy and all this kind of stuff. But they, like I said, they get a little success. And then, he told me, you'll love this, Todd. I'm not saying he was wrong, okay? I'm not saying that. But he told me when we were kind of, getting done with our little fight, he said, he goes, nobody's going to watch you. He goes, because you're ugly. Look at me. I'm pretty. And I was like, okay, yeah, all right. I'm not going to argue with you on that. You got a radio, a face for radio. That's what it, always was. But that's the kind of guy I was going up against. And, and it's hard to have a conversation with somebody that is just ignorant. It's just hard to have a conversation where they actually can think, right, because it's always going to be clouded. So, but
personally, I can see through people like that pretty easy.
Well, I think that comes from our radio stuff, doesn't it?
But you don't, if I have a conversation with you, and I'll talk to anybody about just about anything, but if I detect that a note of insincerity, or something that you're really just saying something to try to get a reaction, then I'm like, hey, enjoyed chatting with you, have a nice day, and then I move on. I don't,
And one of the biggest things I have, Todd, and it's just because of the way I am, but I have a rough time with somebody. There's another woman on YouTube that if you come up with a disease, she's got the disease. She automatically has it. And I have a rough time of people that grift. The word is grift on, maybe that they're, had bad thoughts about unaliving themselves, or, that they bring this up about their depression and, all the problems that they've had. My patience run really low on that, because the way I am, I just, because I am one. I'm looking for the next day. I love this life. Yeah, I've had some bad things happen and all that kind of stuff, but I love this life. This is great. I can wake up every day and think of, okay, what am I going to do now? What am I going to conquer? And that's the way I've always been. And so my patience runs low with people that try to grift and make people feel sorry for themselves, because that's one thing that I never did. I never wanted anybody to. And I think this, I never wanted anybody to see the wheelchair, Right. So then I would make, I would joke about myself before I did anything else, Right. So, so that's, I see that, and I don't like that. And mine, I put my Venmo up, and my Cash App, I put that up maybe a couple of times, and ran it, but it was more of a joke. Now they're doing Amazon wish list. getting people to buy, stuff from Amazon and all that. And
I've seen some people doing that. And
I mean, it's like, come on. But yeah, so so I have a little bit of problem with that. It's, when I started this, it's not a money thing. No, it's not because I got $1 million. It's not because of that, but it's just the fact that I have a rough time with it. I have a rough time taking somebody that might feel sorry for me, maybe doesn't have the $10, but they feel sorry for me and they're going to give me the $10. I don't like that. So, but that's the part of YouTube I got to learn. And like Boston Gingy said here, it's slow and steady, win the race. And that's what it is. It's kind of like, when we were in radio, you thought it was a sprint, but it really isn't. It's a long race.
It's a marathon.
And the marathon, if you just exert that energy thinking that it's a sprint, you'll never win the race in radio. Right. And it's
run out of gas before they do,
Right.
Exactly.
So what's this one? I choose not to listen yet. Jess rode in on coattails of Turtle Boy and Free Karen Reed. That's a lot of the people that, Todd, that cross over with me is that they got in on the the Karen Reed trial, from it started. I think she was, and they'll correct us and trust me, they'll correct us in the comments. But I believe it was January 29, 2022 is when that happened. And then, the first trial was 24, and then last year 25 was the second trial. So people got in at the right time, and really had the right, they could. I mean, Turtle Boy's got like 170,000 people that are subscribers. So you get in with him, and if he, tells that you got a great show, of course you're gonna get some people. Of course, Machado says that didn't help her at all. She did it all on her own, but we all know that that's not true. But yeah, but now her and Turtle Boy are kind of could be at odds. So I don't know what'll happen with that. Twisted Charities. Is it Twisted? Untwisted Tragedies, is it? Is that what it's called, or is it Twisted Tragedies, Boston? But Todd should check her out too, because that's another one that's just unbelievable, unbelievable. But she's the one that, I mean, if you come up with a disease and it's something that somebody's been talking about a lot, she'll go, "Oh yeah, I got that, I had that," and everything. It's crazy how it happens. So this one is drama, a lot of drama. And I found out, though, that if I don't touch on the drama, Todd, then I don't have viewers. I mean, people love the drama. They do. I mean, you hate to say it, but there are a lot of people that come in just for the drama. That's it. Just for the drama. And, I mean, so I'll touch on it, but I'm going to do it in my own way. Yeah. And usually it's kind of ripping on people. I mean, it really is.
I've never known you in my life to do that.
And I was, and I got to apologize to my, after I was thinking about it with you, coming on and everything, I got to apologize because there's a big uproar about sexting, with a couple of people, and it became a big drama. And I got to apologize. When I was in radio, before we had cell phones and that, I think I committed sexting, not 16, but I think a form of that. I think I did. I think I committed it. And now that I thought about it when I was thinking about bringing you on, remember when we get these girls, these women?
Okay, let's clarify real quick. He was not
you, not with you,
okay,
no. But you remember when we used to get these women that would call the radio station and ask for, songs, different songs?
Turned out to be my first stalker, actually.
See, that's what I mean.
I had surgery in Memphis, Tennessee, about an hour away from Jonesboro. I woke up. My mom and dad were not in the room. They had come to visit me, and I woke up, and this listener is standing over my bed, and I'm clicking what I thought was the nurse call button, and it turned out it was the morphine pump, and I faded back out. And to this day, when my parents, when I came back to, my parents were there, and I'm like, "Where'd she go? Who?" And I'm like, "Oh my God."
But I think, when I was in Little Rock, and I got to get my friend Kent Bailey on because he went by Shadow B. Cruz on the air. But I got to go back because I think it was was him. We would have bets. So this was a part of it. Now that I think about it, and I feel really because I told everybody I never did anything like this. And now I was thinking when I was bringing you on, thinking about the radio days, these women that would call, and there was just some dirty women, and and it's crazy because we would bet cases of beer. Okay, because you'd record everything, right? With the reel-to-reel at that time, wasn't digital.
Before.
So reel-to-reel. So you'd leave your reel-to-reel, you wouldn't erase it after you were done. You just let it, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times you got stuck with that because the other disc jockeys would cut them up, and if you had something really embarrassing, they'd play it on the air. Yep. But I remember we would do a case of beer. We'd bet, and one of the bets was, how long did it take to get a woman to talk dirty to you? And I'll never forget, at one time I was owed over 25 cases of beer because I was winning like every time I was on the air. Because that's when they turned it, Todd. They started calling me the ladies' choice. That's when I get ready to come on, they would all say, the ladies' choice is up next, Jeff Stone. And I had 25, and I went back and I was thinking about that, and I actually called Kent and I said, do you remember that? And he goes, oh yeah. He said, you were the master at that. And I don't even know how I did it, but I mean, I carried that even into when I got to Green Bay. Mm-hmm. And it became the same thing. So I apologize to my subscribers because I lied to you. And I said I never did the sexting, but it was a different form it wasn't really on a phone, doing all that. It was a different form.
Right. A lot of times those callers that you speak of, there's a reason that they called and kept their audio only, when I got down to Jackson, Mississippi, after I left Jonesboro, I won a grand prize in an HBO sweepstakes. And I ended up winning a all expenses paid trip to Club Med. And I was not dating anybody at the time. And so I went to sleep and did afternoons at the station. I woke up, about noon, got showered, went into the station. I had 105 voicemails waiting for me because the morning crew had gotten on the air and started running a campaign. They started an ad campaign to find me a date to go with me to Club Med. And so I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to take the cash prize. I'm not actually going to go. And so, thanks for all the calls. And then the calls kept coming, and then they started getting graphic. Some people included a resume with pictures, I'm just like,
oh my, you know what? I got another thing I got to apologize for, but I wasn't the one that came up with it. I got to tell you that right off the bat.
Okay.
But when we worked together, we had a big party in around Valentine's Day in '94.
Yes, I'm very well aware of that.
It was the 501 Club, I think it was called. And I remember everybody was picking on you about getting a date, that you needed a date. You weren't dating her at that time. And
disclaimer, I had a date for that Valentine's.
You did have a date, yes. But I said that I said on the air that I would help you, but I wasn't the one, Todd. I went through with it, but I wasn't the one that did it. But remember when they set you up with the gay guy that worked in the office?
Grant.
He dressed up like...
I played along. He came out.
You were a trooper.
He's like a big... he's like a big star down in Louisiana now, I think.
What is he doing? I don't even want to know what he's doing.
How do I put this? Okay, drag show. That's what he does now.
Really?
Yeah, he, from what I understand, he's one of the top performers in the state of Louisiana. And I haven't talked to him in decades, but
I gotta tell Tracy that, my buddy Tracy, because he's from Louisiana. Oh my, I gotta tell him about that. But yeah, I felt bad about that after I was thinking about all the radio days, and I would do that, and that's a horrible human being when I think about it. I mean, I can't even believe I did that. But I was young. I was young. I was stupid. Mm-hmm. Boston Gingy, don't send me a message saying how disappointed you are in me, all right? Because I was young. I was a follower. They were making me do it, because they offered me beer at that time. I mean, I was 22 years old, 23 years old. So
I think right before the big reveal, as it were, because they had me on a stool in the middle of the dance floor and everything for the big reveal of my date.
Yep.
And I told one of the people that was behind it. If the person comes out that I think is going to come out, I'm calling my attorney Monday morning. And suddenly they got real panicked. Hey, look, this is all in fun. Just play along, okay? And I'm like, and I did.
I said it was that was a crazy time. That was a good. I mean, we had a good showing though at that thing.
A good crew, and yeah.
No doubt about that. So no, that's why I wanted to bring you on to old radio days and talk about what was going on. Like I said, I'm going to bring in one day the general manager from the station that we worked at and see what she's got to say and everything. There was a private message to me and I don't know where it went to. I don't know who it was. But somebody had sent me a private message over here and I don't know where it went.
Probably trying to reach you about your extended warranty.
Probably did. So that's what you're doing now then? You're working for the casino?
Well, I actually work for the Osage Nation. If you've ever seen the movie Killers of the Flower Moon, those are the people that I work for.
Okay.
And they have 7 casinos across the northeast part of Oklahoma. And I work for their gaming commission and I travel. I stay based out of one. I have access to everything at all 7 properties, but generally I go where they tell me. But we just make sure they're following the rules, and regulations. And believe me, casinos are like banks. There is a lot of regulation.
And just so everybody knows, I did not get my wife just because I could talk dirty on the phone at that time. I divorced her real quick, but I mean, I didn't. That's not how I landed her. All right. So it was actually because I could get tickets to Journey at the time.
That's the one thing I miss about broadcasting is concert tickets are expensive.
They are expensive.
I didn't pay for any for like 30 years, and then that's wow.
I still don't pay for them. That's why I got Tracy Broussard as my friend. So I don't have to pay if I'm going to go to country. I mean, I know some people like you do. I mean, that still work in the rock world and top 40 world and you can go. But I mean, I don't even feel like going anymore. That's the thing, again, that's that people thing that I go hang out with people and be nice and all that. I'm not that way anymore. I was never that way, actually, to tell you the truth. But yeah, so that's pretty cool though. Do you bring any acts to that casino or?
We one of our main property in Tulsa has an event center and they bring in a lot of shows there. Blake has not been there, but we've had recently Clay Walker, a lot of the 80s, Clay Walker, Sammy Kershaw, Neil McCoy have come through in the last 6-8 months. And, but I just haven't had a chance to get over there. Even though I don't work for the casino, the employees of the nation, Osage Nation, we get to get a discount on tickets like the casino employees do. And, but we're kind of in the middle of a triangle between Tulsa, Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Wichita, Kansas. And between those 3 cities, you're married for Journey tickets. You married? Good one.
She married for Journey tickets. I didn't.
Okay. All right.
I had a completely different idea. Boston, completely.
Well, I met my eventual wife at a putt-putt golf course. We both
really?
Yeah. And right out of high school. And then she moved away to Michigan. And then 35 years later, comes back and we reconnect. And, we've been married almost 14 years now.
Oh, wow. Look at that. What a story. Putt-putt golf.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Never marry a music man. That's not true. Music, people that work as disc jockeys. Actually, at one time, I think the disc jockeys were rated below a Navy people that are the guys that are in the Navy as far as hooking up with women. I guess DJs were rated lower than Navy guys. I guess because we moved around a lot, right?
Yeah, and that made it hard to develop, a relationship with somebody, right? Because you're in a market just long. If you want to stay competitive and move to where the higher ranking jobs are, then as soon as you get to know somebody, take them out a few times, you think there's a relationship going. What? They want to hire me in Boston? Okay, I'm gone.
You're gone.
And I did lose my nighttime girl at that new station that I launched in Tulsa. I lost her to a station in Boston. Jen Marino, you guys may know the name. Jen actually worked for me in Tulsa before she came. Wow. And she knows a lot of the big rock folks now. But I actually put an ad in the trade saying, "Help! Cal Ripken Jr. stole my night girl," and yeah, thanks.
Is she still out there?
She's still out there. Last I know, she was in L.A. She was actually co-hosting a show with Nikki Sixx, but I think that show has ended now, so I'm not sure what she's doing right now. But Jen's really a good person.
Must have been pretty good from Tulsa to Boston.
Yeah, and and again, it was a sort of a high energy, hot young country format, but they heard her and they said, "Hey, we think we've got something there," and she was gone.
Wow.
And but yeah, I jokingly blamed Cal Ripken for stealing.
So you ever gonna get into this YouTube stuff and do something like that?
It's I'm having fun. I might look into it again. I need something to do that's a creative outlet.
I wish I'd go back to the beginning and not worry so much about the subs, because I mean that can drive you nuts. Now I've gotten away from it. I don't watch that much. Usually when I go on, I take a look and see what we have to get to and all that kind of stuff. But for a while there, you watch and you're going, well, why are they listening to this person when that they're not that good, and you get into that. But everybody has something to offer. That's what it all comes down to.
And I'm one of these people that I'm always looking for new things
and
new angles. And I tell you, one of my new pastimes, I guess, is James Gunn, the director that just did the Superman movie.
Oh yeah, yep.
And James Gunn actually has all of his, because he's done Guardians of the Galaxy and several other movies, Peacemaker TV series. His music that he picks for his shows and his movies, there's some great talent that I never knew about until I saw those movies and started researching the bands. And I have really started listening to something that people go like, you're in your 60s and you're listening to this? I'm like, absolutely. I've got 2 of their albums, and those are the old rock vinyl things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
So there's always something that you don't know and something that you can learn, and you never know where you're going to find that next little nugget of information or entertainment.
That'd be a good thing to talk about is the music part of that. What you're just saying, that'd be a good thing to go in and try to, a channel like that.
Yeah.
And because that way you could stay away from the drama of this other stuff. If you try to be an everyday, kind of.
Didn't you tell me drama's where the subscribers are?
Well, they are. I mean, they do listen longer. The people that like the drama, they like to, they like to see what you're going to say. And if they like the person that you're actually ripping on, they can get nasty. I mean, I've had some private messages that weren't very nice. And, but like I said, I kind of laugh at them, and usually I'll say, well, thanks a lot. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. You gave me a watch hour at least. And I appreciate that. And, I try to do it that way and instead of getting mad about it. And, I mean, the way, you've already said it, they have the choice to do whatever they want. If they want to come listen, they can come listen. If they don't, they don't. And I mean, I'm one, if I'm not going to listen to something, usually I'll just let it go. And but I mean, these 2 that I've been picking on, and there's a couple others that I have picked on. All of them have an ego that is so big, and that's why it marvels that they get the people listening to them like they do, because of having that. But like I said, I guess some people are just. They want to be a part of something. So if they can be a part of that, in the drama, I don't know.
I had a broadcasting instructor and mentor just passed away last year in Little Rock. And he told me something that was really stuck with me. He said, the key to being a success is to find a need and fill it.
Right.
And, so
true.
Looking for that need right now.
It's so true, is to find that and to be able to take that need and just keep on. And I found out that if you can do this, a few times a week, that also helps to get people, to come in and stay. So, and that's where I've been lacking. I haven't run, I'm trying to do 3 times a week. I might do another one late tonight just because I like going after Turtle Boy. I watch Turtle Boy and then I see what he's talking about. And I kind of, it's kind of like the post-game show of his show. and I'll kind of come on and see if there's anything that I need to talk about and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, I haven't met my husband. He was with Bill Haley in the Comets. Wow. Seen him one day, married him 2 months later. Married since 87. Worked with Delbert McClinton and Bob Seeger and then Rondell's Beach Band.
Wow. Some talent right there.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Retired in search for purpose. Find yourself before you retire. Yeah.
I've been doing the math, and at the rate I'm saving right now, I can retire when I'm 67 and live comfortably for 18 minutes. So I'm all about additional revenue streams now.
At least it's 18 minutes, right? Yeah. And just so everybody knows, look at this. The Dean and Danny from Red House Media t-shirt that I went out and bought with my own money and support of their station here, Red House Media. Yeah, I got it on today. Dean and Danny do the internet. And I got to come up with something for merch too, Todd. I'm going to probably hit you up and get your ideas on something for merch with Madstork Media and all that kind of stuff, because I got to get some merch, sell it. You know, if I can make about $1 on every merch that I sell, hey, that's $1 I didn't have, the way I look at it, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
See, Mary B? Mary B is actually a part of that Red House Media. She's one of the people that gets on our co-host, I guess you could call her. And she very funny, very funny. And love the t-shirt. See, there they are. And Danny's going to be coming on a little bit, so I'm
your entire allowance on that shirt. I love that. If we were still in radio full time, yes, he did. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. If I was still doing radio, it would have been the whole week's salary for this one.
It was out. I was out of radio when I found out that it's actually illegal to have 3 bank accounts and write checks and then cover the other account with a check from this account. That thankfully the statute of limitations is long past on that. But
I remember when I first got going, and it was like, and I got paid pretty good money in the first job, but I remember, always calling home and go, Mom, can you send some money? I got to have some money. And she goes, what are you doing with your money? Well, then I realized I was drinking a lot of cases of beer, but I didn't share that with her, but she always came through though. Always did. And everything. Look at Mary B. Look at that. You can't do that.
I've actually seen the legal precedent that
So everybody, I need you guys to the ones that came in here and were chatting. I appreciate it. I know we got some people on Twitter. I didn't go to Facebook with this, but I'll leave it up to Todd to try to find the Madstork 83 link and put it on Facebook so that everybody that knows Todd, he can maybe share it with people, and then we get some more people. And Todd, I'm gonna extend this to you whenever you have time, and I'm going on. I'll send you a link all the time just to say, hey, if you want to come on, you come on, and you're welcome to until you decide what you're going to do with a YouTube channel.
Yeah. And I would love that. I've had a good time.
It always goes fast when you're doing it. You sit there and you're thinking, okay, can I get through an hour? And then next thing you look up and it's, oh wow, we're over an hour. And so I appreciate everybody got in here and chatted it up. And we call because of Mary B, we're called Madstork Media, the Flock. So if you're coming into the chat, we're the Flock. So we want you to be a part of our flock. And please hit the share, hit the like. Please hit the like and the share. Because if you share it, that means, I lost another listener. Well, I wonder what they got pissed off now. I'm probably going to have another message. But we were at 480. It's at 479. We're close to 500. It's been a heck of a couple of weeks to try to get to 500. But if we get to 500, like I said, it's another tier in YouTube. And then when we get to 1,000. So yeah, it's just we just got to keep moving, and we'll do it. And before you know it, we'll get over 500, and then I probably won't even talk about hitting the like or share. We'll just let it go and see if the people do. So flock off. There we go. Do the flock off t-shirts. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Have a stork giving the finger. That would be awesome. I remember when I used to have Air Stone. Remember the Michael Jordan, flying through the air? I had the Air Stone and it was me in a wheelchair flying, and then I had a CD in my hand. And in one station I worked at, they thought it was funny. They had the Air Stone kind of concept, but I was flying out a bedroom window of a woman. She was looking through the window, and I'm flying out because her husband came through the door. I don't know where they got that from, because that never happened to me. But I think it was part of that Ladies' Choice thing. But it was clever. I thought it was fun and everything. So Todd, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And everybody, please, like I said, when Todd gets ready to start his channel, I want you all to go over there, and all the the crew that are going to watch this later. I want you, once he starts his YouTube channel, that you get over there and you subscribe to him, and it's going to be a good time. Yeah, backdoor man. Yeah, it wasn't really the backdoor man. I was going through the window. For some reason, they thought it was funny. It was a radio thing. They thought it was funny. I think it was the whole radio, the Ladies' Choice thing, and they thought, well, let's do this to him. And I mean, it was pretty clever. I mean, I got to say, it was pretty clever. But they put the most hideous looking woman looking out the window. I mean, she looked horrible. I don't know where. I think they got it off of like a prison site, the picture of the woman, and it was just bad.
My stalker, Stephanie.
It might have been her. Everybody's always had a good stalker. Do you know that in radio?
She's the only one I had to end up taking to court, though.
So, all right, I'm going to cue the music, Todd. Again, thanks. And maybe when I get LaDawn on, you can sneak back on that.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
You know, I'm planning. I want to get Carrie on too, because
she's
Carrie,
actually. I saw that she's actually driving cross country, taking a kiddo back to college or something. And
I think she's
messaged her and said, "Hey, are you coming through Oklahoma?" Because
I think she's actually she's in Vegas today.
Oh, okay.
And but I'm going to try to get her on. Carrie's another person that worked. She did a few morning shows with me in Jonesboro, which was a lot of fun. And I mean, she knows a lot about me. Her and I have stayed friends, real good friends. And so I'm going to bring her on. And
Lisa, too, our front office director of First Impressions. Remember?
Man, that was a cute woman right there. That Lisa. And that's how I found that when you were talking about the guy I was asking you about in Jonesboro. That's how I remembered. I knew the name because it was her last name too, of that guy that I asked you about. So, all right, Todd, I'm going to cue the music. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your friendship through the years.
Absolutely.
And like I said, anytime you want to come on, you're welcome to come on. And we'll always have fun. I mean, and the bottom line is we'll talk about people on here, but we'll always have fun with it. And that's what I want to do. So everybody, thanks a lot. Cueing the music, as they used to say.
We're firing up the camera and turning on our microphones. We are just a small-time channel looking to do a great show, trying to make the fun meter glow. Don't want no trouble, don't want no thugs on our show. We just want to make your day a little more bright. So to that New Jersey ambulance chaser who works as a hip while you're waiting in queue, please don't sue us for anything we do, because we are Madstork Media, coming at you live. The #1 spot where content, fun, and foolishness collide. Yeah, we are Madstork Media, keeping it true, bringing the laughs and the good vibes to you. We don't want the thugs blocking up our lane. No bullying, no threats, no corporate pain. We are just a little channel with a giant heart, trying to make some art right from the start. is all done. Let Madstork Media show you some fun. Yeah, 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 Madstork Media show you some fun. Come on, Frank, let's tell the world. Madstork Media is #1 for content and fun. Come join the fly.